Welcome to Grown Dad Business. This is Aaron Kleiber, straight from the dad quarters with, of course, Jason Clark, everybody.
What's up, man?
Are you laughing?
I'm giggling, man. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. It's mid-afternoon.
Nice day.
We've been hitting all hours of the clock, me and you. We did an early morning. We normally do later at night. Today, mid-afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we're in different moods.
Yeah.
I was painting all day.
He was. Yeah.
I have to paint and cut my 2 acres before I go to Wisconsin tomorrow, so that's fun.
Jeez.
Yeah. But, hey, we're introing the podcast.
That's what we're doing.
Welcome to Grown Dad Business. We have a reason to celebrate today, and brings us to our topic today. It's true. Jason is starting a new career.
I am.
You may have heard us talk about how Jason was unemployed for a little while.
Yeah.
But not really. He's always doing all kinds of things.
Always working.
And I've had quite a few career changes as well. Mm-hmm. So now that we've both learned this, we're going to chat about it. We're going to talk about changing careers and how fun that is.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Buckle up, you son of a bitches.
Grown Dad Business with Aaron Kleiber. That's my dad. Hello, underpants. That is hilarious. Shut your mouth, dude. Rate and review this podcast, or my daddy will go into a deep depression. Going down business with Aaron Kleiber.
Boom. And we're back. Hey, guys. So, welcome to Grown Down Business, where Jason Clark is starting his new career.
Yeah.
That's fun,
It's exciting. Yeah. It's been a couple months in the works. You've been along, obviously, the journey the whole way, because we're friends. We talk about, we don't just come do a podcast and say, see you, buddy.
We usually
checks in the mail.
It's funny because my wife, she'll come in and poke her head in the dad quarters here, and she'll be like, aren't you guys supposed to be podcasting? And we're sitting there, I'm like, I know. And here's another thing about, we sit here and have like a meeting.
Yeah, we do.
For an hour before
I was thinking, also we need to schedule a meeting. We don't do that. We should schedule a meeting. We need to sit down and talk.
I told you how I do my meetings, bro.
We walk. That's
we walk,
fine.
bro. I go on a walk.
Fine. I'm good. I'll run. I've been running.
You want to talk to me, dude? You gotta walk around the, that's where you meet gangsters. You're like, oh, if you want to talk,
can we go for coffee afterwards
and
then have an even more formal meeting?
Yeah,
good. I
love
you know what I
mean? You got to talk to this guy while he's eating an Italian dinner or something that.
Yeah.
I want to come up with my own thing.
Yeah. Instead of sitting there eating some chicken parm.
Yeah.
Just we're going to go walk a trail.
I'm just walking around. I'm just walking around a circle.
But yeah,
But
that's what ends up happening. We end up recapping and talking about different things. And, this week we were sort of recapping our show from this past weekend and talking about that type of stuff. But then, it's, it's what we do, man.
Friend-ish.
Friend stuff. Little business, little friends.
The way you said that. Friend stuff.
Friend stuff, everybody. Let's bring it together.
Friend stuff.
We hold hands. We talk.
Whatever.
Whatever it takes.
I'm reminiscing about your career change, and Jason is now a licensed real estate agent.
Yes,
that's the big announcement, guys.
That's it. Boom.
You get it?
Yeah. No, it's what's interesting though. It didn't come out of thin air. I mean, real early on. So understand, everybody, I'm not college educated. I don't have a college degree. So I went to college. I didn't finish college. So I've built my life from nothing. I mean, if you listen back to an earlier episode, I think we might have talked on it. I got thrown out at the age of 19. I was homeless. I had to figure it all out from there. So
Jason's throwing it all on you right now.
Yeah, so I had to figure out my path at an early age and get moving. And I built a very, very nice life for me and my family and a successful career in retail management.
Yeah.
And I ran, we've mentioned a couple different times, you hear Aaron say big box store. I ran a Sam's Club which is a membership
secrets. We're letting them out.
Membership warehouse. You might be a Costco town.
But you
whatever.
ran a Sam's Club for a long time.
14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 14
That's
years I did that.
I don't like being in a Sam's Club for more than an hour.
Yeah, right.
Because I spent too much money.
Imagine being on there 2 days before Christmas and dealing with that bullshit.
I know,
but
man.
It afforded us a life that I enjoyed it. I will tell you that I loved working for that.
You're a good
company.
people person.
I loved work. Thank you. I loved working for that company.
Yeah.
I believed in what Sam Walton, as an incredible entrepreneur,
Ooh.
believed in, and what he believed in the core of everything was just, can you respect people?
Yeah.
Like you'll do well if you just show some love and respect to
Right.
people, and good things will come your way. Isn't that funny how that works?
No, that's awesome because it does welcome every kind of which way crazy person doing a Walmart.
Yeah, just respect them.
Hey, we welcome all insane people of every creed, race, and religion.
Yeah,
please come to Walmart at midnight.
I would tell you that. I would tell you.
We love everybody.
Mr. Sam never envisioned his company to be what it is today. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But on the other side, he was a very, very shrewd businessman, and he, people that I have met over the years that actually sat with Sam Walton would tell you that a lot of people thought, oh, he's just this country bumpkin. He's a son of a bitch, and he was going to get his.
Man.
He was going to get his, and he was going to make it work.
Isn't it funny when people say stuff like that, or and I don't mean to defend politicians or anything like that, and I'm not talking about any current ones because I will not defend them.
Yeah, definitely not.
But like when people would say like, "Oh, George Bush is just a stupid idiot from Texas, and his daddy was president." The dude went to an Ivy League school and was also in the military. Like, he's okay.
Yeah,
on
an intellectual level, I mean,
maybe he can't read a teleprompter too well, but my man went to an Ivy League school. Like he's might be a little smarter than you,
right? Yeah,
maybe as smart as you.
Yeah.
with your liberal arts degree.
Yeah, this new guy's dumb. But we agree that, right?
Oh yeah, we agree.
We agree that new guy's dumb.
Yeah. We don't get into that.
Yeah,
but anyway,
but yeah, so
our silence speaks volumes.
Yeah, so we did that for 14 years. Like I said, I built a very good career, a great career doing that, and was able to provide for my family in ways that I was blessed with the fact that I made a good enough living that my wife was able to end up staying at home and helping our kids through elementary school and all that stuff. And then she was like, I want to go back to work. And I'm like, hell yeah, you go. Yeah, go do your thing, And so I was very blessed in that way that it gave me a lot of good things. And then I ended up finishing my retail career with Lowe's Home Improvement.
Yeah, there's another little cat out of the bag.
Yeah, and
we don't want to say things, when you're in transition.
Yeah,
mode.
Whatever. But yeah, so
so I know Jason knows everything about lumber.
Yeah, what kind of grade you need? What kind of wood you need? Whatever. Whatever. I look at this person; they know more than me. Talk to them. But no. So we had for a while now. You spend almost 20 years in retail.
Yeah,
and anyone listening would tell you it is an incredibly difficult, challenging life to lead. The schedules are weird.
I've never envied anybody that made a living in retail. I mean, it always seems like, especially some of my friends. Well, we've been friends for a while, and just being, oh yeah, man, I have to close.
Yeah,
every day this week.
I will be leaving the store after 11.
Yeah, and I'd be like, well, what's your week like? And you're like, 11 to 11, 5 days in a row. And I'm like, well, that sucks all of the balls.
Oh, yeah.
Every ball I know. It sucks them.
All of them. All at the same time.
All at the same, dipping down in your face.
It's incredible the things that you end up going through and dealing with. But again, not to belittle the fact that I made a great living out of it.
Right.
And I think that when you say that you don't envy anyone that does that, what ended up happening over 20 years is that the general public's disdain and belittlement of the retail worker.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking that the way that the public it became more prevalent. Early on, it would be, you'd have an asshole from every once in a while that would give one of your employees a hard time.
Yeah.
You started to see it more and more. Society made this weird shift.
Oh, you mean people that like stock shelves?
Well, they look down on you.
Are the same people that like whatever?
No,
they're lowly workers.
Well, that's what they like a cashier, and the things that people would say to these employees of yours, and you've got to be
Really?
like, oh, it was disheartening.
Yeah.
I
only mean from saying that retail workers. What I mean is like running a retail store sucks all the balls because I wouldn't want to deal with people.
Right.
I'm not talking about the workers.
Oh yeah, no, the workers.
I'm talking about I wouldn't want to deal with the public.
I would tell you in 20 years, 20 years of doing
some
that.
lady coming telling me that this sweater is I'm like, get away from me.
Right. So, but I would like, to that point, 20 years of doing it, I could probably count on one hand.
Excuse me.
5 employees that I
can't
had
handle
an issue that just was a problem.
Right.
And I was running stores with 200 employees.
Right.
So, it's the general public. So there was just sort of, so bottom line is it ground me down.
Right.
Like I had said to Melissa, the word around the house was, there has to be a better way. I mean, that's all we kept saying. There has to be a better way. And early on, before I met Melissa, I was young. I was probably 20. I remember going and visiting a real estate office, as looking at saying,
you were too rough around the edges then, weren't you?
Oh, I will. Yeah. No. Plus, I was so young. I had no life experience.
Now Jason walks in with coordinating belt and shoes, of course.
Of course. I'm a fancy gentleman.
But your socks and your shirt coordinate as well.
Well, I came from an office. I was at the office and doing
as
that
soon as
stuff.
you walked in, what did I say to you? I'm like, you son of a bitch. Coming in here. Look at me right now. You're
painting your house. I was at an office meeting. So,
I know.
Yeah.
I'm a mess
It's
right
okay. I don't paint my house in a blazer, but I have one on today. But what my point is, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was something that was in my head over 20 some years ago.
Yeah.
And then I know that Melissa and
But it was never a necessity.
Visited it early on before I got into my career in retail.
Right.
So when this time came this past January, when basically my job was dissolved with the company,
right.
Lowe's cut me a check. I mean, it was all good. That's fine. I'm good. Yeah. They severance their people out.
Right.
And did a lot of right things. Did a few things that were like, oh, I would have done it a little bit differently. But hey, it's all good. But it was the kick that I needed.
Absolutely.
And the eye-opening experience. And I am so blessed to have a wife that so supportive and so wants the best for me.
Yeah.
That she would be like, let's figure this out together.
Right, yeah.
Let's get you and let's figure this out where you are going to be happy. Now, am I concerned and scared? Listen, it's 100% commission, people. I mean, I'm not getting a check unless I produce.
Yeah.
I like that odds.
Oh, me too.
I like them odds for me. And I love and so.
Oh yeah.
When
your career is about your work you put in.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you work 100% on commission.
You can sit
Aaron
here.
Kleiber, work 100% on commission.
Absolutely, I do. I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, you can't come to this thing this weekend." If I don't work, I don't get paid.
That's it. I can't pay the bills.
They're like, "Oh, you're doing 6 shows with the flu." I don't work, I don't get paid.
Right. Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. So there is an incredible.
So the odds of some people like I know, personally speaking, Jason and I, when the odds are in the favor of what work we put in, we're good.
I feel good about it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I feel
I'm totally
good
fine with
about
that.
it. And
I got to rely on 9 other people? No, thanks.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, it was a challenge. Yeah. I didn't talk much about it to a lot of people because I knew the one thing that was out there was that you've got to take a test and you've got to pass these federal and these state level tests. And I had to sit there. You haven't taken a test
since you took a forklift test at Sam's Club 17 years ago.
My thing is I've not. It's been over 20 years that I've taken a test that mattered. Right. Like that, it really something was. This was important. And
it's not like watching training videos.
Yeah, no. And then you understand that the material is so vast, so broad. Yeah. And then you're going to take a less than 200 question test. Right. You don't know what direction it's going to. So there was a lot of that on me. And, man, we buckled in. I had great support from you. All of my really close friends. And, I keep a very close knit. I don't have I have a lot of friends. Yeah. But I've got only a few friends.
That's something you'll learn a little later in life.
Yeah. So I was able to, confide in them, work with them, and they helped me with just confidence and just sort of boost you up. And you need that. Yeah. And man, I locked down in my office in my game room.
I would text Jason and
what are you doing, bro?
It'd be like, I'm studying, bro. Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, dude.
I gotta learn how to study again.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't remember how to study. I'm like, how the hell what am I doing?
I'm so bad at studying.
And I went in and took the test, and I don't think I've done that well on a test ever. Listen, I was a C student. I was that guy that was like, Jason, if you would just apply yourself, you would. Mm-hmm. Yep, I get it. And I applied myself.
Aaron, everything's so funny to you.
Yeah. I applied myself, and it came true. And when I passed the test, and you immediately get the results.
Sure.
I just stared at the computer screen and was like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
Walked out of the room. Lady that administered and put you in the room for the test, I asked her, could I hug you? And she said, sir, no, but I appreciate the offer. And
is that really what happened?
Yes. I said to her, I come out, and she goes, congratulations. She goes, I'm going to print you your transcripts. And she looks at me, and I go, I know we just met, but can I get a hug? And she looks at me, and she's a state worker. You know what I mean?
Were you walking around? You're just walking around with a sign over your neck in Market Square giving free hugs? Is that what you're doing? You're killing me.
But yeah, no. So it is a big moment for us as a family. I mean, the support of my friends and the community as a whole has been overwhelming, and we're excited, and I think that it's something that I might have been made to do.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing. Where I want to get into that, and it's something that it works perfect because we've always made little jokes, and we'll get into that. We're gonna have to have a whole nother podcast because this is us talking about changing into a career that you kind of get into and are, I mean, I don't see you changing your career anytime soon again. Like
this has to be it.
Yeah, like unless you become a professional comedian, unless you can start making a living doing comedy. Yeah. I wouldn't see myself either changing into anything.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like I've always said too that we've always had a ton of jobs, even though you were at a couple places the last 20 years of your life.
Yeah, I mean,
but we've all went through that process in our 20s. I'm saying Jason and I went through this process, and I got Jason beat on this one because my 20s were, I mean, we're just gonna have a whole nother podcast about jobs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of, like you said, I mean, I'm chunking out my 20s from 23 to 22 till now was pretty much all in one industry.
Right.
And 90% of it was with one company.
Right.
So, I had a couple other jobs before that. But,
dude, it's so funny because when people say like, they learn, about some of the jobs I've had and stuff. And when I throw out to somebody, I'm at some club and I'm like, because I used to be a youth pastor.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I went to college all intentions of being a filmmaker and an actor, and then ended up transferring and becoming a youth pastor, and then transferring out of that career into marketing and advertising.
Yeah. And
then leaving that career to be a full-time actor and comedian.
Right.
And that transition, one of the things that that's so fascinating is that you're just trying to figure out what you want to do, but you want to stay, you want to stay in something that you love doing.
Yeah.
And I could even say, without even like asking you, you like people. You love interacting with people and talking to people and influencing people with your mood. And that's what's one of the great things about you, is that you can talk to a group of people and change their mood and, make people feel welcome. And, I like that too. I love being around people. Hence why I try to make tons of people laugh every night. I love that attention. I love being able to influence people in that way with your personality. And so one of my last ditch effort jobs was real estate.
Yeah.
And I passed the test.
Yeah.
I paid for classes, passed the test, went and got my license, never used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And part of my plan of doing that was, it was basically my first original plan in having a job that I could dictate myself.
Yeah.
but also something that could transfer to Los Angeles. That's really
interesting.
That was my original plan. My original plan was really to do real estate here for a couple years, while I'm doing some comedy and acting. Yeah. And maybe that's a job I could have if I needed to move to Los Angeles.
Right. And
it actually never came to fruition. Like, I actually went to my first couple meetings at a real estate agent that I was going to work with.
Right.
And, when they want you to work in your first couple months and, not get paid. And, I'm like, I can't do it. I've made money every week my entire life. Right. Like, I got to figure something out. Yeah. But I ended up just being able to go on tour and do stand-up for a living.
And it all happened. I mean,
right. It's just all kind of,
yeah.
It's not like I went into real estate and was like, you know what, F this.
Right.
It was kind of just all like, well, if this is what I got to do, I got to do it. But then I got like a commercial, then I got a movie, then you start, I'm touring with, big name comedians. It's like, oh, I'm paying my bills.
Yeah. And
then I'm like, oh, but what about real estate? And I'm like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
But I never went back.
Yeah, because you hit it and you started working.
Right. And so it's kind of an interesting thing how that happens,
Yeah. I mean, and the thing too is, and anyone listening is just like, I'm 43 years old. Well noted throughout our year together of podcasting of how much older I am of Aaron.
Hundreds of years.
Unbelievably seasoned.
Moses went to high school with him.
But
remember that joke?
I think a lot of individuals would be very concerned and scared at 43.
Yeah.
And not, and sitting there and going, I don't have a college degree. All I could ever do is retail. Right. That's all I've ever done. For 20 years, that's all you've ever done. Right. Where does that translate into another avenue? That's what me and my wife sat down and talked about. I could have very easily went within a week and ran another store somewhere else.
Right.
And I would have still been pissed off. Because the thing for me is about I want to see you.
I want to see you as the GM of a Justice store.
Yeah, right, right.
Claire's.
Yeah, like I knew some people. They went and they went through the transition and boom, they jumped into another job with another company.
And they're managing some store to mall or whatever.
And guess what? They're still bitching about the same things they were bitching about at the other place.
Right.
And I've always found that it's funny that there is not one issue that is exclusive to one job. It's funny that you will find the same issues. But what I needed life.
Yeah.
Before I did okay with the work-life balance, as good as I could.
Yeah.
Okay. I was at or for with my family as much as I possibly could. I made it to major events. I made it to plays and musicals and everything that my kids did.
Right.
I did as many sports games as I could make it to. I coached for a period of time and was able to make that happen.
You were involved in community stuff.
I was involved in community stuff and things like that. But at the end of the night, I'm there going, I don't want to go do this again tomorrow.
Right, I know.
Like the job was just not, I reached an age where the money was a driving force to give my family a life.
Yeah.
And I made a good living. And I reached a nice status, and my mind, I was always about, I need to be in this role higher, not for my own ego, but because I always thought then I can touch and influence a bigger number of people positively. That's what always drove my career. But then I realized I got nothing. Like me personally, I felt empty in what I was doing. Because it's not a very rewarding career in retail management. It's very challenging from that perspective.
Basically the joy you get out is the people you work with.
Yeah, and then after that you walk away from that, it's just like, God damn it, I hate what I do. Like I hate doing this. So what we did when we sat down, if you're thinking about a career choice, it was at a time of my life where I was just like, I want to live. I started doing things for the Arcade Comedy Theater. I started doing stand-up. I started doing I started improvising. I started then as an operations manager of doing things and working and running the theater behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And I found incredible joy in that.
Sure, yeah.
But then what ended up happening was my career was keeping me from being there. Right. Aaron hitting me up. Hey, man, you want to do a podcast? Bro, hey, you want to come do a screener? You want to come do a podcast with me and Sean? Bro, I can't. I got to work. Yeah. I got to work till 11 at night and be back here at 6 in the morning. And you're like, motherfucker, what?
I know.
What? Like, and and that, so that's, I sat back and I said, here I am. I got no college degree. I've got 20 years of working in retail, but I don't want to work retail. What is my strong suit? What do we do well? And it always comes back to people. And that's where I'm at 43. I think that 10 years later would have been really scary.
And it's funny too that like I went through that when I went through those job transitions and the career transitions.
That's good.
Is that going from working with teenagers in ministry and in nonprofit, super rewarding, but the structure is not amazing. It's not
right.
Working for the good of people is great, but then the people you work for is not always fun.
Right.
And I'm not saying all religious institutions or nonprofits are terrible. They're not. I got a rough draw of them.
Yeah.
And also it's we could talk about that later, but
yeah.
But what it was is that I wanted to. What you're saying is you want to stay in something that you love, and it was people.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be involved in people, and also for me was creativity.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what led me to marketing and advertising. It was like I get to work with people. I get to be creative and create things and be in charge of creative things, and and that was really cool. But then for people that want to change a career, I think that's huge. For what you're saying is, you want to move into stuff that makes you passionate. There are jobs there.
Yeah, which is interesting. I
remember now.
Okay, go ahead then.
No, what I was going to say about real estate is that when you're transitioning into jobs with that you want to use your people skills with, that people are like, oh, you're so good with people. You're good with talking with people and influencing people, and they always go, oh, you got to go into sales. Yeah. You should go into sales.
Yeah.
You should. I've had multiple times people tell me I should sell cars.
Yeah.
People are like, you should work at a car dealership. I know they've said it to you. Oh, Jason, you're a car dealer.
I worked at a car dealership years ago. And didn't
Jason,
sell.
You can make a couple $100,000 a year selling cars. Yeah. And it was always a thing where I was like, you know what? I like being positive to people.
Yeah.
And I feel like no disrespect to people that sell cars. I didn't want a job where because of a quota, I had to convince an old lady to buy a Cadillac.
Yeah.
I just never wanted to be in that position.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like sales can get like that. And that's one of the things with real estate that I always felt like it was like it's sales, but it's not.
Well, I mean, it is. Not. I don't have to answer. I don't have to answer to my broker.
You're creating, or you're working in a really helpful sales job.
Yeah.
You're helping people transition.
Yeah.
Through one of the hardest places in an adult life.
Sure.
Some real grown dad business.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just sold and bought a house.
Yeah.
And my real estate
and that's
agent,
what sort of tuned me and Melissa's ears.
Yeah.
Was when you went through the process, and then immediately after that, well, during that time is when we were selling my mother-in-law's house.
Right.
We've talked about this.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny that we did a whole podcast about selling a house.
Yep.
In meantime, behind the scenes, me and Melissa are talking about, going into real estate because I've found the process to be very invigorating.
It is kind of cool.
It was, and there were things that, you were saying to me about what was going on between your agent and the seller's agent.
It's on the fly, it's problem solving.
Yeah, and it's supportive, and it's allowing yourself to be supportive to somebody to, maybe, not to sound hokey or whatever, but, to help them get something that they dream about, is owning a home together. And I'm excited about that prospect.
And what's cool about that is that in this type of sales job, there is kind of like an end and a goal that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Because at the end of that goal, it's not like, yay, you got a new Chevy Malibu. It's not. It's like you have a new home.
Yeah, you're going to raise a family in.
You have a new home for your
build
family,
a new future.
Or it's like we sold your house.
Yes, so
we
you
just
could
sold
go
a house.
and do whatever.
Like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's that's part of it is just finding that passion to want to help people and be able to translate into
this
whatever.
This is a great podcast for real estate agents. They should.
I don't know.
Put this out there.
I've been on the job for 2 days.
Yeah, well, this is your first training seminar, Jason.
Yeah. How much you paying me for this one?
So. You'd like to look into a carear in real estate. Jason Clark will walk you through the process.
Yeah. If you're down on your luck and you don't know, and so it's as close to owning and operating my own business without the capital.
Right.
Okay. And,
right.
And that, I've sat there and
Absolutely.
said, God damn it, I'd love to own my own business, But you know what?
Oh, don't do that, Jason. It sucks.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
It sucks.
But it was about finding, between me and Melissa, finding how I balanced, a career and all of the other things that I like to do. You hit me up. Hey, bro, will you feature for me out in wherever, in 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now? I can make it happen.
Right.
Where before it was like,
I mean, you might have a closing.
Well, yeah, definitely.
You might have an open house.
I'm not blinded by the fact that at any time I need to be available for somebody. I totally get that. But you know what? I know one thing I'm not going to be doing is getting up at 4:00 in the morning to open a goddamn store so people can come buy nails.
I know, right?
Okay, all right. Like I'm gonna get up at 8.
Yeah, I don't have to get up at noon.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I can get up whenever I want.
Yeah. So
okay, except when I have to do radio and TV, that sucks.
Right.
But it's still fun.
But yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for us as a family, and my, getting that call from your adult daughter, when I, just like she's like, man, I'm gonna tell you what.
Yeah.
There is nothing that will melt you more than when your child is older and she says to you, "I'm really proud of you."
Isn't that cool?
And I'm sitting in an alley behind the Arcade Comedy Theater in my car.
And you're sobbing.
And she calls me, and this is the day I passed the test, and that was the first words out of her mouth. She said, "I am so proud of you, and I love you." I'm in an alley crying.
Yeah, dude.
And it's
that's
just
what grown men do.
Yeah. So it's been a great, and this is like turning to like the Jason Clark story here, but
that was fun. Changing careers is a big deal
for anybody. If you're listening,
a lot of
maybe you're on the fence and you don't know, like, what do you want to do? You're not happy with your job, and man, you're not truly ever stuck in a situation. You damn it, figure it out. Listen. Yeah. I'm driving an Uber. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I got to make some money.
Yeah.
I got to look at Melissa and I say, how much money you need this month? Like, what do we need to balance this out?
Right.
She's like, I need X amount. I'm like, all right, I'll be back a little bit later. I'm going to go hustle a little bit. And I'm cut that way.
And I've always said, I've probably have said to half of my Uber drivers, I wish Uber was around when I was, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I would be driving Uber in a heartbeat.
Holler at your boy.
I was driving actually one of my jobs was I drove an executive car for whatever, Mercedes, rich and famous people, whatever.
Right.
And man, I wish I had Uber. Yeah. I wish I could have just went and made money whenever I wanted.
Yeah.
But that's the
thing.
Like
I can leave your house now and
you could.
I could pick up a couple people, make a few bucks.
Well, here's the thing is like, and this is the one thing that I think people would be concerned about, and I've talked to people about this before. And when you change careers, now Jason, you got a severance. You already mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Your wife works. She has a great job.
Yeah.
When I transitioned careers, I didn't have a nest egg.
Sure.
I didn't have a severance.
Yeah.
We had. I started my new career as an actor and a comedian when we had a newborn baby.
Yeah.
So I'm dumb, but I know that if I was in charge of that, I know that I would do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And I have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing is that when you're in that transition, you're like, well, I still got to make money.
Yeah.
You know what? That's where you gotta rise above a lot of people, and you gotta dig down and be creative and think, who do I know and how can I make some money?
You'd be amazed if you reached out and how far people will go. Now, honestly, I mean, if you're an asshole, chances are you're not going to have a whole lot of people there to be able to throw you a bone.
We're assuming you're like, yeah, but nobody will hire me. You're kind of a dick, bro.
Yeah, it might be on you.
I don't know. Yeah, there's things like that where, when people complain about a circumstance where they're like, oh, well, I can't, nobody will help me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you got to question yourself then. Yeah. There's something else going on.
I've never looked for anyone to give me a handout for anything, but I've always been good to people. And if you're getting to a point that you need some help, even if it's just someone to, sort of pat you on the back, man, they're like, bro, you're going to get through this. And it's I always say be kind and be funny to people, and before being a comedian, it was basically be kind. Be a good dude. Yeah.
Be a good person.
Be a good person.
And I can look back at every job I had in my 20s that was somebody I knew.
Yeah.
It's somebody I hit him up and said, hey, man, I'm looking for some extra money. I'm looking for a different job right now. And they were like, of course, man. You're a great guy.
There's two things of that is first is that you've got to, be that individual to start, and the other thing is pride is a bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes listen,
thanks for bringing that up.
Listen, man, I to think that, I'm like, I'm going to go drive Uber.
Yeah.
I'm driving Uber.
Yep.
And you know what I love about Uber? I get to talk to people.
Yeah.
and I'm talking to people and I'm learning about them. And I had to get over the initial stab of like, you're driving somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who gives a shit?
Right.
I've got a goal in mind.
Yep.
And now more than ever, we live in a society where you can go and get this stuff done.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I look at my son and I talk to my son,
right.
This generation, my son's not a millennial. Millennials, we sort of target everyone as a millennial. I don't know what they're called. But, he's not a millennial, but even into the millennials, they have found out that they can make things work. They can make things work if they're willing to go after it. There's a lot more at their fingertips than we ever had. Like you said, if I had Uber then,
but they don't have the work ethic. I believe.
I've always stay away from generalities because you know what? I'm a Gen Xer. Jesus Christ, the things that the people were saying about my generation when I was that age. Meanwhile, I'm sleeping in the back of a car in a parking lot of a
But then again,
dealership.
the Gen Xers turned out to be the bootstrapper kind of generation.
So
kind of made it work.
I think that it. And we could talk about generational whatever. That could actually be an episode, and I think that we'd probably find that we would disagree on a few things. But I believe that in every generation, it always comes down to the individual. Quit generalizing me. Hey.
No, I absolutely agree.
Greatest generation, my ass.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know what I mean? We've all
you got all kinds of people, the old people that are terrible people.
You know what I mean? I mean, we've experienced. I mean, so I don't want to get off on a whole thing there. This is kind of going into a weird territory.
But you brought up a great point.
But we're at a time now where you can get some stopgap moments where you can figure it out.
If you need a transition job, you need to go work at a convenience store, a gas station, a fast food restaurant. You got to do what you got to do. Let me end on this story.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
I think if you guys have any questions,
it's your show.
Jason and I, well, I mean, I got to cut the grass and then do 2 more podcasts and then go to Wisconsin. So, but no, and that is one of the main things is I've heard from a lot of people, and especially kids, when I used to work with teenagers and, even like people I know through friends of family and stuff like that, you hear teenagers and they go, I'm not doing that. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Or you hear an adult, saying like, oh man, I need a new job. Well, hey, I know somebody that they're hiring. I ain't doing that. I'm not going down there and I'm not doing this
but
job.
Then you run into
really?
You run into an individual that is working 3 jobs.
Right.
And those people have always been there too. They're figuring it out.
I'm sorry, prince or princess. I didn't know that. And let me tell you this story. And you have to have a mindset that, look, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And Jason and I say this to each other all the time. It keeps us going. It's just you got to have a support system, like you said.
Yeah.
You got to have a support system. My wife has always been supportive. My wife has always been great. At transitioning careers, but it's that pride thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing where, to this day, I still say to my wife, I had my own landscape construction company for 10 years also.
Yep.
Okay, now we're really getting into that was throughout all those other careers as well. I was doing something on the side to make money as well. And I always say, you know what? If this doesn't work out, I can just go get a $1,000 pickup truck and a lawnmower and a weed whacker that I already have.
And go cut grass.
And I know I can make a living.
Yeah.
Because I know I can market.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can get customers. Mm-hmm. I know if I stopped right now, I'd be making money next month cutting grass.
Yeah.
I know I could. And cutting down trees and planting
and listen, is it a far cry from being in front of a couple hundred people telling jokes? Sure it is.
But you know what?
But I got a family to take care of.
My lights are on.
Yep. I'm paying the bills.
You know what I mean? My kids are eating.
Yeah.
And and I learned about the highs and lows of an entertainment career, but also kind of humbled me in a way where you just got to keep doing what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to keep struggling along. And the first 2 real movies that I was cast in, one was an ABC Family movie. I filmed that for a month. I took off. I was off for a week. I had to quit my job in marketing and advertising to do these 2 movies because it was like.
That's what we're going to do.
The 2 movies were taking up 5-6 months of my life.
Right.
I had to quit. I had to quit my last real job.
Yeah.
That's what I had to do. My last real career job was I was a creative director for a boutique advertising agency.
Yeah.
I had to quit it to do this ABC Family movie. And then I was off for 2 weeks. You know, my first movie, I'm in this movie with Steve Guttenberg and Richard Kind, and like, it's crazy. I'm like, this is nuts, you know? 2 weeks later, I'm in a movie with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, directed by Gavin O'Connor, you know, called Warrior. And I'm playing a Russian dude who's managing Kurt Angle, who's playing a Russian MMA fighter.
Right.
I'm learning Russian.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I filmed this for 3 months, Jason. And over these movies, and this is an old story, you know, this was, you know, almost 10 years ago now, you know, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. Over like 4 months, I made like 40 grand. And stupid me, I thought, man, I have $80,000 in college debt. I should knock off a huge chunk of that.
Oh, yeah.
For real, we sent triple, quadruple payments on college loans for the next month or 2. And, you know, you pay off 20, 30 grand of debt, and you still got 50 of college debt with degrees that you don't use anymore.
I mean, that's the challenge.
And
I mean, that's,
yeah.
God
well,
damn.
now you know. Now you learn in entertainment, you got to, you know, you never know when you're going to eat.
Right.
Or when you're going to work and eat. So you got to be careful. You know, you got to spread your money out, you know. And people, you know, when people say, "Oh, you got a commercial. Oh, you're living up." I'm like, "Dude, that's like a paycheck that you got per month. I might not get another one for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, a year. I'm not guaranteed to ever do a commercial or a movie ever again."
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to, you know, that's why I'm working week to week telling jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's what I love doing. It's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But I did that. I spent all that money paying off debt, and it was gone. That money was gone. Having dinners with cool people and hanging out with famous people every day, that was gone. 2 months later, that fall, I was in a lady from church. I was in her basement, waterproofing her basement.
Yeah.
By myself with headphones on.
Yeah.
Slapping concrete on the walls, painting a basement, dude.
Yeah.
Making $10 an hour cash.
Yeah.
Because I had to.
You had to. Yeah.
Because you had to.
Yeah.
You know? I'm years into comedy, having a rough patch. A friend of ours, actually, that we know, who's on the board of Arcade Comedy Theater. Hey, man, you still do landscape construction? I need sod, a fence, a wall, and a driveway. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
And I went by myself and built a driveway and a retaining wall and laid sod by myself.
Yeah. So I mean,
to make a living.
If there's anything that you're going to take away from this podcast,
and then I was on stage that night with somebody famous.
You can hire me and
Doesn't
Aaron.
matter. Yep.
Me and Aaron. Okay,
We'll
we can come over. We'll do a tight 5.
Yep.
We'll even do some improv. We'll do some
build
crowd.
a retaining wall for you.
Yeah, we'll do a wall. We'll cut your grass. We'll spackle some stuff.
Jason can go over profit margins with you.
Yeah, and then we'll sell your house after we remodel it.
And then I'll lead you to Jesus.
Boom.
I don't really do that anymore.
No.
You just lead by example, dude.
That's it.
That's all you got to do.
That's it.
Hey, good luck, friends.
Yeah, you're heading to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Nice.
I am. This weekend I'm at the Skyline.
Skyline, yeah.
Skyline Comedy Cafe at Appleton, Wisconsin.
When you first put that out there, I was like, "Bish, enough with the damn Skyline chili. All right, pump your brakes." I was like, when I just seen the word,
I'm
I'm like,
on the way out though.
"Nah,
I won't.
I'm not." Nah.
But yeah, I got that going on,
it,
and also in September I'll be in South Bend, Indiana. I'll be in Oklahoma City. I'll be
You're going to
places.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You can go watch that Fighting Irish.
Dude, I'll be in New Jersey. I'll be in Delaware. I'll be in North Carolina. I got a lot of one-night shows in some theaters. I am also at a couple theaters with Josh Blue again.
That's fun.
But yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. And then, Arcade Comedy Theater is dark.
Tonight, when you hear this podcast, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
We will, I'm hosting the final stand-up show.
Yeah, Jason's hosting
theater.
a pretty loaded show.
Yeah, with our good friend Norlex Belmas coming back home from from his home. His home is in Brooklyn, but he was born and raised in comedy here in Pittsburgh, so he's coming back for that. We got my buddy Colin Chamberlain's with us, Amanda Averill. There's a whole bunch of them on
Suzanne
it.
Lawrence.
Suzanne Lawrence. Ian McIntosh is with us. It's going to be a great show.
Sasson.
Oh, Jesus. Sasson.
Sasson. Phil Forrence.
Phil Forrence.
Young Gun.
It's such a great lineup of comics all the way across the board.
Go check that out.
We're going to have a blast.
Arcade Comedy Theater.
It's our last weekend of shows. Tonight, Saturday night. We'll finish up, and then we'll be back at you later in the month.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to give the date.
I know. Yeah,
I'll give you the date. I'll feel better about it next week.
Well, we can tell you October 6th and 7th, 2 big, huge shows for us. October 6th will be our 100th episode.
Yeah.
October 6th, we are tentatively hopefully recording and having a live Grown Dad Business episode 100 show at the new Arcade Comedy Theater.
Right.
And then October 7th is our first stand-up get-down at the new Arcade Comedy Theater.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yep, 943 Liberty Avenue, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
150222.
What?
Sound right.
811. Never forget. That's the address, guys.
That is
the old arcade.
Yeah.
I tried to get him to make 811 Never Forget T-shirts, but nobody was down with that.
Yeah. That's too funny.
And then I led him to Jesus.
That's it.